Hi there guys, welcome back, and this is the point 5 part for what if King Cold went to Namek instead of the Ginyu Force. This is sort of like a mini setup bit, just so everyone understands how the group's next few years will be going. And I might do this more often for the in-between arc part here, but I'm not too sure right now. Now, last time we left off, we had King Kai contacting Goku after the tragic loss of Gohan, who died after attaining the Super Saiyan form to try and take down Cold. After this happened, Goku ascended to a Super Saiyan as well, and he utterly destroyed King Cold. And now we'll join back with Goku calming down a bit after hearing that King Kai is willing to look after Gohan until they can wish him back. And I just want to say here, things are going to become a bit more streamlined. Now, it is going to get a bit wacky, so stick with me. So, Goku asks King Kai to tell the others on Earth what happened, and also asks them to wish back Gohan whenever he's ready. He also asked him to explain to Bulma what's happened and that it's safe to head back to Namek if she wants to, but just go to Earth and we'll wish the Namekians back onto the planet later. Now, with this happening, everything's starting to tidy up a bit more. When Gohan arrives at King Kai's planet, he actually does want to do some training. Remember here, Gohan has spent a lot more time with his father than in canon, so he's willing to sit down and try and get some training in on the planet. Now, over back on Namek, Goku and Krillin rested a few days after the battle. Goku is still very heavily fatigued. Dende has healed him, but he's just waiting to get a bit more energy back. Now, another reason they've stayed on the planet is because they're waiting for the Namekian Dragon Balls to become active again so they can wish back the rest of their friends. But they decide that they'll just go and ask Namek to do it on their own time, which Nail agrees to. After all, these two did just save the planet. So Goku and Krillin decide to take one of the cold ships home, and with them not really having an idea how to fly it, they're sort of just pressing buttons and hoping something will happen. Now, Vegeta, who has been bugging Goku for the last few days to try and teach him the Super Saiyan form, asks them what they're doing. This is the ship Vegeta's been staying in, because it's the one no one really bothers. And then, with a bit of distraction caused, Goku accidentally presses a button, which sends them off to a random planet. Now, in the last part, I explained that Vegeta probably understood how to fly one of these ships relatively well. However, I believe he's probably not skilled enough to change the course or even change it at all once it's going. So he sort of has to just sit there. He probably understood how to set coordinates and take it off, but that's about it. Now, this leaves the three unlikely friends to travel in space. Well, I say friends. Goku and Krillin are definitely friends. Not so Vegeta. Now, the group are going to Yardrat like in canon, and the reason they're going to Yardrat is because mostly it smooths everything up, and it's also very likely that King Cold had the coordinates written in his ship, so it was probably just dumb luck that they managed to get there. Now remember, this is one of the polls I gave everyone. Now, with Vegeta, like I said, not really understanding how to stop or start the ship, they just sort of crash land on the planet. Now, over with King Kai, Gohan had arrived on the planet a few days ago and has begun training with his father's friends and his friends as well. And he's actually asked to spend some time training with King Kai, like I said. King Kai happy to accept this because he sees a lot of potential in the boy, and also he has trained his father, so he knows what to expect. And Gohan's training with King Kai is, for the most part, very useful. But he's more doing it just to kill time until he can be wished back with the Namekian balls with the rest of the gang. So it's alright for them. Plus, using the combo of the Earth Ball and the Namekian balls, they can probably start wishing back people very, very fast. Now, for the most part, Gohan's training is to reactivate the Super Saiyan form, because he achieved it on Namek, so he's just trying to push himself to be able to reach it. Now, he can almost get there, but he's just falling behind. But because Gohan's not really learning anything from King Kai, he's not going to learn the Kaioken or the Spirit Bomb. He probably got explained the basics to him, but he never taught himself them. Now, I'm not going to cover power levels right now, I'm going to cover them in a little bit. Now, like normal, everyone is wished back over the span of a year using the Namekian Dragon Balls and also the Earth Dragon Balls. However, Goku and Krillin not wanting to come back yet, say they will be back soon. So, 2 years after the events of Namek, and Goku and Krillin still haven't returned from their trip yet. However, this is the least of the group's concerns, because one day while Gohan is at his house, finishing some work his mother assigned to him, he hears a knock of the door. He was just about to sneak out to do some training with Piccolo, so maybe it's Piccolo just letting him know he's here. So when he goes to open the door, he's met by someone with pink hair and a sword, who looks like he's talking to himself. You then ask Gohan if he can speak to Goku quickly, if he's in, with Gohan explaining that he's actually not back yet. He's been gone for 2 years at the moment. The pink-haired boy looks at his watch and says something really quietly that Gohan can't hear. Oh, I guess Master must have been off by a few hours. He then looks over to Gohan and explains that if you want to meet your father, he'll be back soon. Just follow me. Oh, and why don't you invite your other friends? I'm sure they've missed him. And like this, Gohan, who's now confused but weirdly believes the guy, quickly calls everyone, explaining that there's someone here who seems to know where Goku is. And Chi-Chi, actually hearing this, asks if she can go with him. Gohan takes her with him, and after a few minutes everyone arrives at Goku's house, and the pink-haired boy just starts taking flight and heads in a general direction. This shocks everyone because he shows off a bit of his power, and he's actually quite strong. And compared to the group, they're not 100% sure they could take him down. Gohan believes if he had Super Saiyan, he could probably win, but he doesn't know right now. And after a few minutes of flying, the pink-haired boy just lands, and everyone sort of lands behind him. He turns around to explain that the three of them should be back any time now, which also shocks the group. Not everyone was expecting 3 people to come back, they're only expecting 2. Now, after a while, maybe a few hours, a big ship begins to land on the very site they are at, and everyone's nervous because that's a King Cold ship, so people who know it, like Gohan, are just very terrified right now. However, they sense 3 big power levels in it, and after the gates open and door drops, they can see Goku and Krillin and Vegeta walking out of the ship, with Goku and Krillin joking that they probably should have parked a bit closer to home, and Vegeta's shouting at them, calling them idiots. Now, at this point, everyone's very happy to see the group and begin to ask some questions, like where have they been, what have they been doing, what's with the outfits they're wearing. Krillin and Goku say they'll explain it later, and ask who the pink-haired boy is. The pink-haired boy then walks over to Goku and actually asks if he could speak to him in private, because he needs to explain something to him. Now, like normal, the interaction between Trunks and Goku here goes very normal, and for the most part, nothing really changed, but one minor change is here. When he's explaining the surviving Z fighters, he actually explains that Krillin is one of the few survivors. This shocks Goku because these amazingly strong people, Krillin somehow survived. Trunks then goes on to explain that the only reason he did manage to survive was because of the little bit of techniques he learned on Yardrat managed to get him the upper hand to help him escape the fight and also help get Gohan away from the fight. The both former Z fighters then trained Trunks to hopefully one day overtake the androids, defeat them, but for now they are both miles behind. He then explains that he needs to start taking this medicine at some point. And also, like normal, he explains that Vegeta and Bulma are both his parents. And also he knows Vegeta in a much better light in this timeline. You've got to keep in mind Krillin was also there, and Krillin has also just spent 2 years with Vegeta. He probably sees Vegeta in a much better light than most people. He doesn't hide the fact of what he's done, however he is a much better person than he ever was. Now, when he leaves, explaining that Goku definitely needs to take the heart medicine, Goku and Piccolo both explained a plan of action per normal, with Krillin saying, I thought I was done with training for a while. And this is the part where I'm going to cover everyone's power levels before the 3-year jump. Then I'm going to explain briefly what everyone's doing during the 3-year jump, and then I'm going to explain their power levels. So let's get straight into it. First off, we have Goku, who started at a power level of 5 mil, and thanks to a Zenkai he had from the battle on Namek, and on top of that 2 years worth of Yardrat training, he's probably pushed himself to 20 mil. Now, this actually makes him and Vegeta the same strength, which I'll get into briefly. However, during his time on Yardrat, he wasn't training all the time because he was also trying to get a better handle on the Super Saiyan technique. And the Yardrat technique he learned is instant transmission like normal. I have done something different for Vegeta and Krillin, so just stick with me. Next up is Vegeta, and his power level went from 15 mil to 20 mil. Now, he got a lower boost from the Yardrat training, mostly because he didn't really see the benefits of it from the start, and also he had a lot of time trying to understand how to activate the Super Saiyan form, so he didn't spend too much time actually physically training. It was a lot of meditation training or a lot of being physically pushed training, and I believe he could probably push himself to be about the same strength as Goku here. He did learn the Super Saiyan technique, and now him and Goku are two of the strongest people the Z Fighters have. But the technique from Yardra I'm actually going to give Vegeta is... I don't actually know, because originally I wanted to give Vegeta the instant transmission, but this script has been written before the latest release of Dragon Ball Super, and I don't remember the exact name of the technique, but it's the one that has the ability to defuse people. Now, I don't know about others, but I really like this technique. I know this manga chapter was very controversial. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I do like the idea of the technique. So I was wondering if people would like to see that instead. So it's your options are the instant transmission or the fusion separating technique. I'm sorry I don't actually remember the name of it, but I've just sort of thought about this while actually doing the voiceover work. And because I've not got the next part of this what if written down, it wouldn't change too much if I ask everyone if they would like to see that instead of the instant transmission. But that's all I'm going to cover with Vegeta. Now over with Krillin, this is probably going to be the one which causes a lot of issues, but please hear me out. Now I've put Krillin's power level at 10 mil, 605,000, but I need to explain why I think Krillin grew so much. Now, unlike Vegeta and Goku who spent a lot of their time trying to get a better understanding of the Super Saiyan technique, he spent all of his time training, which means he not only got a lot stronger, he probably also got the grasp of two Namekian techniques. And I already know which two I wanted him to learn the moment I put this down, because I believe these are the two which suit Krillin the most. Like Goku, he saw the benefits of the instant transmission, so he believes that it could, one, get him out of a fight if he was ever needed to, and also, two, it saves him a lot of travel so he doesn't have to expend as much energy. And the next technique I've chose to give him is to be able to clone himself. Now, I believe this is the best technique for Krillin. It suits his fighting style so well, and before I even decided it, I did talk to a friend about it, and he also agrees with me that him being able to clone himself just suits Krillin so well, and that's why he's got both of these techniques. But I hope everyone is okay with how strong Krillin is. He's technically half of Vegeta and Goku's power level, but he doesn't stand a chance near them if they go Super Saiyan. But like I said, this is probably the one that's going to cause the most issues. Now, this timeline I believe Trunks to be a lot stronger than our canon timeline Trunks. Mostly because he's not only born from a strong Vegeta, he also got training from both Gohan and Krillin, and his training near the start of his training was probably similar to what Roshi would have done to Goku and Krillin, so he's probably got a better understanding of most of the turtle techniques, alongside getting much more beneficial training. So I've put Trunks at a power level of 28 mil. I know this might be a bit high, and he is actually stronger than Goku and Vegeta, but he is still plenty strong. Now, Gohan is the next person we're going to be talking about, and Gohan here has spent a lot more time than in canon training. He trained with King Kai and has been training with Piccolo during the last year he was back on Earth, and I believe he would see a good growth from this. I'm going to put him up to 6 mil. After all, he still has to study, but if you have watched my What If Gohan Got the Last Wish episode, you would see that I actually believe Gohan at this point would have a power level of 1 mil. So he's doing much better here than he is in the timeline there. Piccolo had a lot, and I mean a lot, of catching up to do with everyone who was on Namek. First of all, he didn't get the fusion with Nail, because he never ended up on Namek, meaning we have a much weaker Piccolo than in canon. He still is pretty strong, and he's had to do a lot of training to try and catch up, and the reason he's managed to get so strong is thanks to the training he's done with Gohan. So I've put Piccolo at a power level of 5.5 mil. Now, Yamcha and Tien I can actually sum up pretty easily, and I can do them both at the same time. Yamcha, who was inspired after watching Gohan train hard on King Kai's planet, pushed himself to the max, getting some good training out of being on King Kai's planet. I don't believe he would push himself to learn a technique, but he's definitely stronger than I believe he could have been in canon. So I've put Yamcha up to 340,000, which is still pretty good. And pretty much everything I explained about Yamcha is the exact same with Tien. However, before Gohan arrived, Tien was still training hard. The only difference here is that I believe Tien would have pushed himself super hard here. And he's probably learnt the Kaioken during this timeline, which probably means Yamcha could understand it, but for now I'm just going to be leaving it with Tien. Tien's power level is probably 990,000, meaning he's almost stronger than second form Frieza. But that's all of the power levels I'm covering right now. Now, the group decide that they're going to start doing their 3 years of training. So the group then split off, getting ready to begin their training. And here's where the changes are going to become. First of all, Vegeta actually wants to spend his training time with Goku. As in this time, Vegeta and Goku's relationship would be something like their relationship in Dragon Ball Super. And this means that Vegeta is more willing to accept the help from Goku. And another good thing to mention would be Krillin and Vegeta also have a very good relationship here. It's probably not as good as Goku or Vegeta's. However, you could maybe arguably compare it to the Buu Saga relationship that Vegeta had with Goku towards the end. However, it's probably, if anything, a little bit less than that. In this timeline, because he spent time with Krillin and Goku for 2 years and a few weeks, he's very much a calmer person. Is far from being a bad guy now. So the change in canon here is, instead of just Gohan, Goku and Piccolo training, we would instead see Krillin, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan and Goku training all together. This means that Yamcha and Tien might feel left out, so this would make the two train with one another. But they would also spend a bit of time training with the group. And this is a very good way for the group to grow. And also another thing to mention is the group isn't surprised when Bulma has a baby, which is Vegeta's, as they spend some time using the gravity chamber at Capsule Corp. So it's never a surprise and everyone's more connected here. Now let's jump straight into the power levels going into this saga. Now Goku, who started at 20 mil, I'm going to put to 160 mil. Thanks to his training with Gohan, Piccolo and Krillin and Vegeta, he probably saw better growth than in canon, and this made him very strong. And another thing worth mentioning, that with his 3 years worth of training with Vegeta, himself, Vegeta and Gohan all discovered the grade 2 form of Super Saiyan. Gohan has only really just discovered it and can't really use it. However, Vegeta and Goku both can jump up into it, and now both have an idea that Super Saiyan could possibly be pushed even further than what they thought it could be. Vegeta got the exact same boost as Goku, and like I said with Goku, his power level is now 160 mil. The benefits of training with someone who has the same strength as Vegeta has really helped him here, and now he's been on par with Goku for a while, so we'll leave it there with Vegeta. Gohan started at 60 mil, and I'm putting him up to 72 mil. He had some good training, and he had a lot of catching up to do with the group. So while he's been training, he's been put against people who are stronger than him. Not only was Vegeta and Goku stronger than him, Krillin was also stronger than him right near the start. So Gohan would see some good, growth from this. But like I said, he doesn't have the second grade of Super Saiyan yet. However, he did learn how to go into the normal Super Saiyan. Piccolo went from a power level of 5.5 mil to 55 mil. He has been trying to catch up with the group as he's fallen behind here. Piccolo's having to cover a lot of ground that the fusion with Nail would have done for him. However, I believe putting him at 55 mil is a fair point to have Piccolo at. Now, Krillin is at a power level of 10 mil when he started, so I've put him to 65 mil. The gap in power is slowly going to start creeping up on Krillin because of his human biology. However, for the most part, he's managing to keep up at the moment, but that might not happen for the rest of time. And he will still be one of the strongest Z fighters at the moment, but we don't know how long that will continue for. Tien started at a power level of 990,000, and I'm going to put him up to 12 mil. He spent most of his 3 years training with Yamcha, which has helped him grow much stronger. After all, these two are about the same strength, so this has got to be helping him. And another thing to mention with Tien, that during this time, his Kaioken, he's managed to push it up to a 30 times increase. He can hold it with a bit of ease, however, if he holds it any longer than a minute, it destroys his body. So when using the Kaioken, he can actually push his power level up to 360 mil. Yamcha probably wasn't training as hard as Tien. However, he was definitely training hard because he wanted to give Tien a challenge to make his training worthwhile. So I put Yamcha from a power level of 360,000 to 4.2 mil. Now, like I said, he's pretty much gone through the exact same training as Tien. However, the only difference is he can't hold his Kaioken as strong as Tien can, and he can only push it to 20 times, but he can hold 10 times quite comfortably. Now, this is everyone's powers covered. Let's jump into the day. Now, like normal, the day of the attack comes and everyone's ready for the fight. And another thing to mention here, Vegeta is actually there this time. And for the most part, things here go like they did in canon. Goku and Vegeta are both very confident that they should be fine. After all, they are much stronger than the Trunks person was. And at this point, the androids attack. Now, like normal, Yamcha is the first one to find them. However, he doesn't get instantly killed. When Dr. Gero goes for him, he flares up to his times 20 Kaioken and just manages to break out of the grasp of Dr. Gero when he hit down on his arm, because Dr. Gero wasn't expecting such power from Yamcha. He actually almost took the doctor's arm off, but he wasn't ready for this, so it was only because Yamcha had the upper hand with a surprise attack. Now, like normal, everyone shows up to defend Yamcha, and also like normal, Goku asks if they can move away from the city, which they do. Now, the fight here between Android 19 and Goku goes pretty much like it did in canon, with the only exception being that Goku is probably a bit stronger than his canon version, and he also has the Super Saiyan Grade 2 form to fall back on. However, during the fight, like normal, he does feel the effects of the heart virus, so he wants to end the fight fast. This pretty much goes like it did in canon, with Goku trying to end the fight with a Kamehameha. However, when he goes to do it and buffs up to Super Saiyan Grade 2, when the android absorbs it, making not only the android stronger, but puts Goku in a bad spot. He's pretty much out of energy, he's in his base form, and he can't really stand up to fight at the moment, so someone else is going to have to step in, but this is actually where I'm leaving this part for now. I know this is a bad spot to leave the part in, however, I just wanted to cover how the Android Saga would start. Everything else I can probably fit into one episode. Now, I have a question here. Who should step up to fight the android? I'm going to give you a quick idea of how each fight will go, with a quick explanation. Now, first up is Vegeta, and his fight will go pretty much like it did in canon, with the only difference being that he was there to watch the whole fight with Goku, so he could probably take down Android 19 a bit easier. Next up is Gohan. Gohan is a pretty weird one, but Gohan's probably one of the few people there who could step up to fight the android, and has the power to back it up. And his fight would be pretty much sort of Gohan trying to get revenge for his father. And the last one is the one which is going to be weird, because I'm going to put up to the plate Krillin. I know he's probably not going to get picked, but I honestly believe Krillin has a fair chance here. Keep in mind, I don't think in raw power Krillin can win. I think he could just probably outplay the android until he got an opening to take it down. But they're the options. So you have to choose between Vegeta, Gohan and Krillin. Now, I hope everyone enjoyed this part, and I hope you all have a good day or a great night. Talk to you next time.